Hi everyone. So this video is a little bit different, not my usual sort of video. It's not really something that's been in the news, but something that periodically I've given thought to. And well, here we go. This is a video about it. The issue is trail hunting, which is related to the issue of fox hunting in the UK. Now, in my opinion, the ban on fox hunting in 2005 was one of the better things the new Labour government done. I see absolutely no valid way, just to put the cards on the table, no valid argument for tearing apart a defenceless animal for sport, for fun. And I think the hunt lobby is disingenuous about this because, they say that it's pest control. They say it's necessary, to protect livestock, but we're not talking here about farmers shooting foxes to protect their livestock. We're talking about a bunch of, let's face it, predominantly better off people dressing up in red tunics and going out and tearing apart defenceless animal. That was what fox hunting was about. And yes, it was a traditional British sport. You see it in lots of old paintings and so on. But I just think there's no rational argument to continue that other than a sick sense of gratification from seeing that. Anyway, trail hunting has been a controversial issue. I'm just going to read out the Wikipedia article for a little bit of context. This week, incidentally, the Countryside Alliance had a demonstration in London because they think there's going to be a ban on trail hunting or there's proposed changes to current legislation. I guess they think with the Labour government coming in, they are under threat. Although I have to say, the idea that they are victims is a bit preposterous in my opinion. I'll come to the issue of urban versus rural after reading out this because it is an important point. So, from Wikipedia, trail hunting is a legal, although controversial, alternative to hunting animals with hounds in Great Britain. A trail of animal urine, most commonly fox, is laid in advance of the hunt, in inverted commas, and then tracked by the hound pack and a group of followers on foot, horseback, or both. By 2005, most forms of hunting animals with hounds have been made illegal across Great Britain, although many remain within the law in Northern Ireland. To preserve the traditional practices, most registered hunts switched to trail hunting as a legal alternative. Trail hunting, while superficially similar to the established sport of drag hunting, was an entirely new invention in 2005 and one which hunts claim is designed to replicate the practice of hunting as closely as possible, but without the deliberate involvement of live prey. So if that's all it was, I'd have no problem with it. But this is where the controversy arises. Well, just describe what it involves first. Trail hunting should not be confused with drag hunting, where hounds follow an artificial scent, usually aniseed, laid along a set route which is already known to the huntsman. In trail hunting, a scent trail is laid using the prey animal's urine, foxes, hares, or other animals, and deliberately laid in areas where those animals naturally occur, ostensibly to recreate the experience of chasing a real animal. The trail does not follow a predetermined course, and those controlling the hounds do not know the route in advance. This is an important point in its flaws. Anti-hunt organisations claim trail hunting is a smokescreen for illegal hunting and a means of circumventing the Hunting Act 2004, which applies in England and Wales, and the Protection of Wild Mammals Scotland Act 2002, which applies in Scotland. Because the trail is laid using animal urine and in areas where such animals naturally occur, hounds often pick up the scent of live animals, sometimes resulting in them being caught and killed. It has also been alleged that trail hunts rather than actual trail, therefore encouraging hounds to pick up live animal scent. The League Against Cruel Sports has claimed that of 4,000 monitored hunts, someone was seen laying a possible trail in an average of around just 3% of occasions. The Malvern Hills Trust, which banned trail hunting on its land in 2021, has said that during the monitoring of 10 separate hunts, only one trail was being laid. In recent years, several major landowners have suspended or permanently banned trail hunting on their land. So that's the basic article on Wikipedia. I looked at the League of Cruel Sports, the League Against Cruel Sports, excuse me, and they've a big section on this. I've long been suspicious of this. I've long felt that they have indeed used this as a smokescreen And I would not at all be surprised if they are kind of getting around the ban and foxes are being killed in these hunts. Saboteurs from animal welfare groups, I don't entirely agree with all of the practices. For example, I think grabbing the reins of a horse of a huntsman is foolish because, it frightens the horse and people will end up getting injured. I think some huntsmen are thugs. I've seen interviews with them. I have very little respect for them in terms of their attitude. They would argue the saboteurs are thugs. Like I said, I don't entirely agree with some of the actions of the saboteurs, but I will say this: I'm not convinced that rural police are doing everything they should be doing in terms of upholding the law. Killing a fox in this country for sport is de facto illegal as of the hunting ban 2004. So I think these so-called scent trails need to be monitored more closely. Um, I mean, if you have a situation where they are not telling the huntsman the trail, then they could go in any direction and just pick up an actual animal, and so basically nothing has changed. So yeah, rural police should be cracking down on this. I think it's disgusting. I don't think there's any argument for tearing apart a defenseless animal. It's pretty pathetic that they say it's about protecting livestock. Incidentally, I've no problem with farmers protecting the livestock. I've no problem, for example, with farmers using a shotgun to kill a fox in a necessary situation if it's going to kill chickens or other livestock. That's necessary, that's understandable, it's their livelihood. But that's very different from a bunch of people going out and tearing apart a fox for fun. And I think it's pretty preposterous that they bleat about their rights and they call it a sport. Well, if it's really a sport, then give the fox a weapon. Obviously that's sarcasm, but yeah, I also think there's another issue I take with them and with the Countryside Alliance. They always make this about urban versus rural, and they make out that fox hunting is a huge part of rural life and therefore all rural people support it. I don't believe that. I find it hard to believe that every person in the countryside is really enthusiastic about fox hunting. There will be issues in the countryside that people feel strongly about, and they may well justifiably feel that city people don't get it. um, the countryside has had some very difficult periods, certainly during foot and mouth. There's been economic strains on the countryside, so I'm not ignorant of that. That's why I think it's wrong for the Countryside Alliance to put this at the very forefront of their arguments, because it just makes them look cruel, and they can't seem to see it. They can't seem to see the optics of that. That they're basically claiming that they're victims when what they're doing is wanting to tear apart an animal. That's not a war on countryside life. That's getting into the modern world. That is, you know, also with the fox hunt ban, the majority of the public supported it, including, I suspect, yes, there would have been discrepancy. There would have been higher support in urban areas, but I do not believe that you know, there's a massive proportion in the countryside that is okay with this. I think it's going to be more balanced than it would be in the cities. But I would say, if you live in the countryside and there's a lot of issues that the countryside face, I think it's foolish to make this the priority of concerns. Um, because really, I think, for instance, there should be support for farmers. I think it's a challenging profession. Those are areas where there are legitimate pressures, there's legitimate concerns. I just think making defending hunting as something, I mean, what problem do they have with if they want to dress up in their garb and chase a scent, I'm fine with that. But I do think it needs to be scrutinised. I think rural police need to get their act together and see if basically the law is being broken. Because if they're killing animals and they're using loopholes in the law to do that, then they could just say, "Oh well, we didn't know." I think it's pretty obvious it's happening. And I've seen videos of saboteurs showing this stuff, showing foxes being killed. So clearly, this has been going on since 2004. In the end of the day, the law needs to be upheld. Otherwise, there's no point of having laws. So rural police, I think, need to do much more to track this. Um, I give credit to those landowners who have banned the practice on their lands. I certainly would if I had land. But yeah, I think fox hunting's disgusting. I don't think it is a cruel blood sport. There's no level playing field, to for the fox, and they can drop this rubbish about it being pest control. That may be a side product of it, but we're not talking here. This is a very important point. We're not talking about farmers using a shotgun to defend their chickens or their sheep. We're talking about a bunch of guys. Maybe some of them are farmers, but going out um, and tearing apart an animal for fun. I do think there is a loophole here. I do think they're using it as a smokescreen, and for that reason, I'd be perfectly happy with Starmer's government furthering legislation. And of course, they'll whine about it and they'll play the victim, but laws are there for a reason. And if they're being flouted through loopholes, that needs to be tackled. Rural police need to, I'm not saying it should be the priority, but certainly they should be seen to be upholding the law. It is possible that some police are sympathetic to the hunt lobby, in which case, I mean, I can't prove that, but if that's the case, then they're not doing their job and they're not fit to wear a police officer's uniform. The police themselves, there was a footage emerged recently of a police vehicle, I think it was in Dorset, ramming a calf, and that attracted a lot of controversy. Um, so, the police need to be seen to be upholding the law. Let me know your thoughts.